Hey historians, welcome to Decoding the Test and a quick look at the Great Depression. Now, as always, if you're looking for that higher level score, study the details that you see in front of you. But what we're going to go through today is what the test has focused on over and over and over again over the past couple of years. And that can really be boiled down to three areas: the causes of the Great Depression, the New Deal programs of the Great Depression, and finally, the change in executive power during the Great Depression. And it's this last that we're going to look at. Now, this one is actually really weird to me. Any list of best presidents will always include Franklin Roosevelt in the top 2 or 3. However, the test seems to focus on the negatives of Franklin Roosevelt's administration. So I'm going to offer one tip. If you do not know an answer to a question that features Franklin Roosevelt, pick the one that makes him seem the most negative, and you have a good chance of getting it right. Now, why is that? It's because the test is focusing on how executive power changed. When I say executive power, I'm talking about the office of the presidency, how the president becomes more powerful than the other 2 branches of government, Congress and the Supreme Court. Now, with FDR, that's always going to revolve around one aspect. It's called the court packing scheme. FDR passed a lot of New Deal legislation that featured the government stepping in to intervene in business, pretty much for the first time in American history. The Supreme Court struck down a lot of that New Deal legislation as unconstitutional. And Franklin Roosevelt was very disturbed by this, and he eventually hit upon an idea. Nothing limits the Supreme Court to 9 justices. What if, he thought, the Supreme Court could have 15 justices? Well, if he raised the number of justices on the Supreme Court, that means he would get to appoint 6 brand new Supreme Court justices. Combined with the justices that would favor him already, that were already on the court, that would mean that all of a sudden the court would be made up of mostly people that favored FDR, and his New Deal legislation could go through. We call it the court packing scheme. It never actually happened because Congress saw it for what it was. It was the president trying to increase his power. It's always the example that the test used. So look here, we've got 4 speakers. And by the way, this is a layout the test uses a lot. Speakers. And it gives what is the speaker saying. So speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, speaker 4. The question is, which speaker expresses the main argument against FDR's plan to increase the number of justices on the Supreme Court? The answer is going to be speaker 4. The plan gives the executive branch too much power. And that is the takeaway here. That is the takeaway. The criticism of FDR in the Great Depression is that he tried to take too much executive power. Let's look at another question. And again, this is going to revolve around Supreme Court revision. Here we have a political cartoon. You see that it's labeled FDR, and you can see that he's taking steps, and one of those steps is labeled Supreme Court revision, and then the top step is a throne that says dictator. What is this kind of expressing? Well, it's expressing concern about C, the expansion of executive power. So again, anytime you see FDR during the Great Depression, it's probably going to be asking about executive power. And the takeaway is he was trying to take too much. If there's no questions, comments, or screams of thanks, I'll see you in the next video.